Hello and welcome. My name is Alex and you are watching our new channel RoadRex, and along with my co-host Ram, we want to showcase everything that we love about cars and bikes. So today we want to start off by showcasing my Audi S4 B6 and also Ram 600 Bandit. For the start off, we'll concentrate on bikes.
Yes.
Ram and I have been friends for about 30 years now. And throughout that 30 years, we have always absolutely loved everything car and bike, and most thing with the engine, to be honest with you.
And wheels.
Anyway, so the bikes we have in front of us today are, like I said, Ram 600 Bandit.
The Survivor.
Yeah, with 92,000 miles on the clock.
We're going to get to 100.
I have never seen on a motorbike before, I have to say.
Don't think many people have, to be fair, although I'm sure there's somebody out there that has.
Although amazingly, it does sound remarkably sweet for a motorbike with 90,000 miles on the clock. It's amazing.
What can you say? It's a Suzuki Bandit. You know, arguably one of the best-selling bikes of the late 90s. Commonly used as a commuter bike. We could keep on top of the maintenance and everything. It just seems to go on forever and ever. You know, even now with the 92,000 miles on it, regular oil change and spark plug change, and she's sweet as a nut. Keeps purring.
That's amazing, quite frankly.
I love it. I don't think I'll ever get rid of it even.
And we've also got our cameraman's bike here as well,
Yes.
which is massive.
The Honda NC750.
It just goes to show how little we know about it.
And that's all I can say on that. Inline twin, plenty of torque. Not so much in the top end, but you know, if you're just eating continents and taking in sights and stuff, it's not like you want to be holding on for dear life the whole time anyway. So.
Yeah, definitely a bike to sit on to watch the countryside go by.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Back to the Bandit, I mean, as a comparison, it's probably not the most comfortable on a long journey, but scream of the inline four will soon take you on with it.
So how long have you had this bike then?
It's coming up to 3 years now.
Has it really been that long?
Yeah. Yeah, bought it off my mate Keith, who meticulously looked after it. After he had it. Came to buy it on 92,000 miles and still seems to run sweet enough. Keith also still has a Bandit.
You think maybe he had a bit of Bandit regret after he sold it?
100%.
Totally.
This is on 92,000 miles and still pulls like a train. Handles beautifully. Starts every time on the button. I just can't fault it.
Have you got bored of it yet?
Well, it is a 600, not 12. Although from what I gather reading the forums and stuff, there's not really a massive amount of difference between the 6 and the 12 regarding performance. 12 is a bit heavier, so I'm not bored of it. She still puts a smile on my face, so I don't know. Yeah, and to be fair, you have had quite a collection of cars. Relatively short.
Yeah, I've had an Jaguar XJ6
At 21.
with a TWR body kit on it.
At 21.
I've had an E39 M5, which was so good. However, I have to say, with the Audi, I'm mightily impressed. It's comfortable, it's fast, it shouts when you want it to. Even though inside, when you put your foot down, it doesn't even sound
You
like
don't
it.
even know, do you?
And you just don't notice the speed.
And you can get everything in the back as well, can't you? Big old boot space.
Yeah, I was surprised.
So there you have it. There's a bit of an insight into what we like, what we do, what we're about. So without further ado, let's get to it.
Let's get on the road. I think that's exactly what we need to do.
Yeah.
So this is my 2003 Audi S4 B6 Avant Quattro. I've had it for longer than I've had most of my other cars, which means that actually it's a bit more of a friend to me now. I've had it for around 6.5 years, and in that time I've grown quite fond of it. It's been a little bit like a child, I suppose. I've washed it, I've cleaned it, I've fed it. I've even given it medical attention when it needed it. This particular version has been debadged, although I didn't debadge it myself, I bought it like that. It looks exactly the same as the 1.8 turbo. So I can't really claim to have added that particular style cue. These particular wheels came from a rear wheel drive model. I do get a lot of rubbing on the rear arches, which I really need to do something about, I think. The only way to solve that problem though is with an arch roller. So I think that'll be the next job on the list. There are other little niggly problems, such as the quite weak aluminium pedal box, which at the moment has unfortunately let go of the clutch switch. There's also problems with its age, cosmetically I mean, such as the saggy headlining, the ever so slightly tatty switchgear, which, let's face it, is nearly 25 years old now. The pricey clutch, which the last time I inquired was about £2,000 to replace. So that's not cheap. And there's also the problem with the relatively low MPG. This car wasn't meant to be driven slowly, although it doesn't mind taking it easy every now and then, just cruising along. There's also the Audi V6 chassis problem with the drain holes blocking up just underneath the scuttle panel. It's been parked under a tree for so long now, some of the stuff has fallen off the tree and blocked the drain holes, which then comes through the dash into the passenger footwell and has a couple of times already moisture damaged the comfort control module, which in turn does affect the central locking, the electric windows, the boot, the reversing lights, and also the fuel filler flap, which obviously can be a problem. However, the comfort control module is a relatively easy fix, and you can also sort out the plugged up drain holes relatively easy, although they are actually underneath the battery. On the S4, the battery is slightly wider so that it covers the drain hole, so you have to remove the battery in order to get to it, which is a little bit awkward. Well, there are also lots of good things about this car. It's quite a fast and practical car, especially for the money. Having had a look around, I can find similar versions, although you may struggle to find a manual version, as most of the versions that I found seem to be automatic. But I much prefer this 6-speed gearbox. But they can be picked up for anywhere between 3 for a slightly tatty one that needs a bit of work, right up to about 7,000 or 8,000. So for not a huge investment, you can have quite a fast, practical car that really delivers, especially when you put your foot down. I do love that V8 rumble. So I suppose we better catch up with Ram and see what he's got to say about his bike.
I love my Bandit! So here we are with my 1997 Suzuki Bandit. Arguably one of the best selling bikes of the 90s. Used a lot as a commuter bike for relative comfort and ease of use and bomb-proof reliability. 600 cc's of just pure, unadulterated fun. Now, I've owned this particular bike going on for 3 years.
As I've mentioned before, it's done 91,000 miles, and keeping on top of the servicing, regular oil changes, plugs and this and that, she still just pulls. No matter how much Alex puts his foot down, this is still the only thing he's going to be able to see when I'm in front of him. I've done a couple of things to this bike myself as well, just to make it my own. The belly pan and new brake levers, exhaust, general things that people do when they're modding their stuff. I don't like the stupid wing mirrors that they put on them. I've also gone for softer compound and slightly wider tyres as well. Because even though this is a relatively heavy 600 bike, she still is very, very chuckable. Cons, it is getting old now. And, by comparison to some more modern bikes, it definitely starts to show its age a little bit. It's very heavy for a 600 steel frame, even with the cast alley block and head, she's still very front heavy. Other little niggles I've had in my time is always been wiring issues, after 20 something years of being ridden quite hard. Anyone or anything would be pretty bad till now, but where the wires trace around the frame, they rub through, and you have no ignition, and you've got no lights, and the indicators start playing up, little things like that. Other little things I'd like to do, I'd like to drop the front forks a little bit, just to give it a bit of a sharper turn in. But other than that, there's not really a lot of a change about the bike. Plenty of power from the inline 4. I know everyone loves the noise of a V8, but that inline 4 screaming still makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Nowadays, you could probably pick the running one up for about 500 quid probably, and even a decent looking one is not going to set you back much more than maybe £2,000. And in my opinion, I think that's a lot of bike for money. I love it. I just love it.
So now you know a little bit about Ram and I, and we hope that you've enjoyed watching it. We very much enjoyed making it, and we hope in the very near future to bringing you lots more cars and bikes.
And everything in between. So if you like what you see, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.
I can't talk.